what is innovation? It seems like a very simple question, but actually it's super difficult to answer. You know, these kind of standards, ISO standards you have for other things, we have as well one for innovation management. And the team took 2 years to define innovation. So if you don't know, you know, like always in organizations, they took ages to define innovation. It's super normal, so don't worry. But here I have a super easy definition, like you can use everywhere, anywhere, and any kind of industry and situation. Very simple. What is innovation? Innovation is bringing value through creativity. So simple. Really, it's like ah! So I am author and founder of a platform for collaboration for innovation. I think innovation for me is my whole life. I have 15 years experience doing design, as well technology, managing teams for innovation, and doing this kind of transformation in the teams and organizations to become a super innovators. Yeah, so another thing. Super innovators means like it's not doing or having only ideas and doing some kind of prototypes. Super innovators means like you are bringing this value to the market. Like really people are using your ideas and creativity. But let's go back to the definition of innovation. Innovation is bringing value through creativity. Let's analyze this. Value. So it could be any kind of value. You know, when you have benefits and impact and positive impact to someone, to some industry, to the planet, this is the value you are bringing. Creativity. So what does it mean, this creativity here? It's like, it could be any kind of idea. So for a process, you know, for a workplace, you know, for the society, could be for a new product, a new service, you know, this kind of new things, new ways of doing things. So here, I am challenging you now. Can you think about what kind of innovation is bettering the world? Like you can have impact and bring value to someone. So this is the point. Which kind of value? So value for the planet, value for the society, value for an industry, value for ourselves, and as well this value we are bringing into the future, into our next generations. So we are going to some kind of reality check here. So I remember 10 years ago, going to, in a new company, I had a new boss, and he said, Jara, come here. We have to talk. And I remember he said, you know, this team is not talking to this team. This team here is not talking to this team. And this team is not talking to this team. And I recall thinking, oh shit, how we can innovate if no one is talking to each other. So at that time, I realized how important is leadership for innovation. And here another reality check here. You know, innovation is not like have tons of budget for everyone, like not every company is IBM, and I think in reality, we have not super trainings of innovation or experts of innovation in the companies. The reality is like always, they are trying to put someone in innovation they don't want in another department. Well, you laugh, but it's like not a joke. I mean, it's super, it's very tough, because then the projects are not getting funding. The good projects are not getting there. There is not budget. It's missing something. So even if you have this kind of director of innovation, it's like, okay, you do some kind of brainstorming, some book comes, you put this T-shirt and these cool things, and well, I think that's one of the problems. What exactly does mean innovation? It's not having brainstormings. But if then as an organization, you cannot innovate yourself because you don't have the capacity sometimes, like not all of us, we are IBM. So why not to buy innovative solutions from others? Startups, academics from university. This has a name. This name is innovation procurement. It's not sexy at all. I mean, when you say this to someone, it's like, what? But it's one of the solutions you can get if you want to be an innovative organization. So let's go back to the story of, somehow of how innovation is super linked to leadership. And I was doing things at work like others they were not doing. And I think that was a thing, like this mix between leadership and emotional intelligence mixed together for innovation. Like bringing people together to break silos. Like listening to needs and ideas of people, really listening. And as well, the part of remove the frustration, when this frustration they have, these people, when your idea is not selected. So, they are feeling bad, so you have to help them. Daniel Goleman defined emotional intelligence as a skill or ability, which means everyone can learn. A skill ability to recognize your own emotions and the emotions of others. And this is so powerful to crack in leadership and innovation, to understand each other, to see how you combine and apply this to bring value, to have this positive impact all together here. I am an entrepreneur, so my question, to solve was how I can bring together academics, startups, and industry. I said, okay, then what is the problem here? The problem is, like, they have tons of excuses. They say, academic, they are only focused on research. The startup, they are something like kids playing around, and industry is like focused only on money. And then they have all these excuses, and you can have a list, like, I don't know, 2 pages or more. So in this sense, I think we are all human beings, no? we are people. So in this case, it was for me to say, why not to go back to this type of conversation, like we are all human beings here. We have to connect and to communicate and to be able to work together from these levels of connectivity. And this is why the emotional intelligence is bringing into place in a very interesting way. So let's analyze a little bit these relationships. We get a startup with an industry. Let's analyze what is happening at an emotional level. So you have here like a startup. Maybe you have a very bad day, which means your customer is going to your competitor. The systems are not working. And then, well, you think you have a target and you didn't get the target. So you are feeling shit, you know? But at the same time, you have a meeting with an innovation manager from a corporate. So you cannot go to this meeting feeling shit, you know? You have to recover. You have to analyze why you are feeling that feeling and how you can go there and have a calm, content, good conversation. And the other side, the innovation manager, do you remember the story, like we are not all IBM, Well, they have this issue with commitment to innovation, this kind of self-esteem, or I don't know, they don't trust the startup because they will disappear in 1 year. Why I have to work with a startup? So they prefer to work with Microsoft, even if it's impossible to log in. And then when they are there, that's the point. So the startup, they have to understand their own feelings, but they have to understand the fear of the innovation manager talking to them and managing this fear to be able to work together. And then this is the thing. They are there. The mindset is you have to be together, working together to make the product, the service, the planet, and the society better. And only with this commitment is possible. So we are going to the other case, the academics with the industry. So academics, they value the research, the intellectual value. As well, like, they're money seekers, no, the industry. So they are feeling if they are thinking about money, it's not correct. They have this fear towards money. So this is very important to understand this, to say, to overcome and to have the mindset, I will make impact with my research and my knowledge. And if they are in this mindset, they are going to the company, and the company is, they are more intelligent like me. They have as well this fear to work with academics. And then they have this paranoia thinking, I want to be neutral, so I don't want to pay you. So even if the academic did the whole work, of bringing value to the society, that's why, then the others are not ready yet. Or they are thinking, it's coming from the university, everything is free. So you understand this kind of relationship, how it's super important, emotional intelligence, to manage these kind of emotions. First, to understand your own emotions and the other emotions of others. This is the part. As well here again, the mindset is to work together, to collaborate, and to bring the product better. The service, the planet, to have this positive impact. Positive leadership and emotionally intelligent leadership is about making impact. A positive impact, a positive future via innovation. Let's make an exercise now, all of us. Close your eyes. Imagine you are at work tomorrow, at your desk, and you have the opportunity to think about one question. Which kind of value and impact do you want to have which kind of change and transformation you can do. Because the important question is, which kind of future do you want to have? Thank you.